What is happening, people, and welcome to this video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you how to build a big wide back and some big ass biceps. So if you're wanting to get massive, sit back, relax and enjoy this video because we've got lots to learn. Let's get into it. So exercise number one when it comes to getting a big wide back for me is always going to be pull-ups. For me, pull-ups are like the best back exercise there is, especially for growing the big wings. Now if you don't know, that muscle is called the lats. And they're going to be the muscle that's kind of the biggest on your back. They're going to make up the biggest portion of your back, and developing that helps you get that V-taper that kind of makes your back look nice and wide. So we'll start off with pull-ups that target the lats, which isn't going to be wide pull-ups, it's going to be narrow grip pull-ups because they are more of a lat version of a pull-up, right? Whenever we're coming tight to the body, we're working the lats more. So exercise number two for the back is going to be a cable lat prayer when you're moving in this sort of motion. Now, I don't believe everybody calls it a cable lat prayer, but that's just the name I've seen, and I've kind of always stuck with. Pullovers or whatever you want to call them, they can be called that, right? But the reason we're doing this number two is because this is a lat isolation exercise, and as we're trying to develop the lats the most, we want to be targeting them directly. So we're actually going to pre-exhaust our lats for the following exercise, which I'll get into in a minute. But what pre-exhausting means is basically targeting a muscle prior to going and targeting it again with a bigger exercise. And what this does is it makes the muscle more weaker. So then when you're doing the bigger exercise, you can use a lighter load, focusing on the form, but still make the muscle work equally as hard. So this is how we're going to do our cable lateral prayer. So we're stepping back, fist you up tall, got a slight bend in the knees, pushing the hips back, and I almost like crunch my abs a little tiny bit so my back's actually rounded here. And then from there, I'm trying to use my arm as a big long lever. I'm reducing as much elbow bending as possible when moving this. Try to keep that arm as straight as possible. Bringing that down nice and slow, controlling that up. Breathing in, we're coming up to, we feel the lats just about to let go, and then we drive the elbows down tight to the body. Breathing in as we come up, and then breathing out, driving it down, nice and steady. So while doing this exercise, something to think about is twisting in the wrists at the top, and then driving the elbows down, right? Let them rotate out on the way up if they need to, but then you're always thinking about twisting them in and driving them down. And when I'm doing this, it allows me to feel my lats more because I can focus on driving from my elbows rather than driving from my wrists. Exercise number three for back is going to be bent over barbell rows. Now, the reason we've done the lat prayer before was to pre-exhaust the lats. Now this is extremely useful for two reasons. One, I've got an injured back right now, so I can't go too heavy on the barbell rows because it puts a lot of strain on my lower back, which is actually why it makes it great for you as well, because odds are, if you're watching this video, you're not super advanced in your training yet. And basically barbell rows are a movement that's very easy to cheat, especially when you're using lots of weight. Now I'm going to show you what I mean by a cheat rep on this, and then we'll go in and explain the exercise. So a cheat rep on this is going to look like when you're pulling the bar up, your body's coming up with it, and it basically makes the rep easier because your body's just trying to find the most efficient way to actually lift this weight up when you're doing that. However, proper form is going to make sure you're maintaining this bent over position and all the movements just coming at the arms. As you can see here, my body isn't moving, or at least it shouldn't be anyway, like so when we're doing this. Now, that's reason number one, but also because we are going lighter, we can focus more on this squeeze here where we're trying to develop your form, and then when you do get stronger and you start doing this with heavier load, you're going to be better down the line as well. So this is just going to make you a better trainer, get you a bigger back, and overall just great all round. So go like this. So when setting up the barbell row, you always want somewhere to lift this out, roughly about waist height. Then when lifting it out, don't make the mistake of bending your back over and picking it up like that, because you're just defeating the purpose of actually trying to do good form, because this is where you get injured. So we're going to grab the bar, bend the knees, push the hips back, and from there we're going to lift this out using the hips. Going to take a big step back from the rack, feet are hip width apart, slight bend at the knees, and we're pushing the hips away back. Now, when we're doing the row, I'm thinking about keeping this bar tight to my legs on the way up, and I'm driving the elbows up. Then I'm breathing in, controlling it down. See, when I get to here, I like to call this like resetting. What I do is I think to myself, okay, I'm in the right position. If not, I drive the hips back slightly, and this keeps me in this parallel position. I do that at the start of every rep to make sure I'm in the right position before I roll. Otherwise, you end up like that guy that's rolling up here, like so. So, barbell row, that's how to do it like a professional and actually get gains and not look like a noob in the gym. So we'll now get nice and sweaty in here. It's time to get the guns out. Sadly, I'm feeling a wee bit soft, but I'm sure I'm not too bad. But see, once you've been lean, you've gained a bit of body fat, you do feel significantly unlean. It's half as well, fuck it. So, exercise number 4 to build these wide ass lats is going to be lat pull down. Now, wide movements don't build your lats, but they build another muscle that's up in here. I believe it's your teres minor. Can't remember the exact name, right? But basically, it's a small portion up here that kind of pops out there, and it adds that extra last little bit of width. But for the width on your back as a whole, you're wanting to make sure you're targeting the lats. So this is like the finishing touch to the wideness, if you will. So we're grabbing this outside shoulder width apart, sitting down, and in here, right, what I want you to do is first of all get in nice and tall, then from there I want you to look up and see from here, I'm then what's called depressing my scapula, I believe that's called. I'm kind of holding my shoulders down, I'm looking up, then I drive them down. Try and keep this in tight to the body, and let it come down to like collarbone position, breathing out, then coming up nice and slow, releasing that muscle all the way up to fully stretched position, and then down. We're now moving on to building the biceps. Now, good news is the biceps have been working pretty much all the way through that back workout as a secondary muscle group, right? The lats, whenever they're moving, usually the biceps are working unless we're isolating them, like on the cable lat prayer. So the biceps are already cooked. What we're basically doing now is adding that kind of little finishing touch, just hitting them directly. Now I'm just going to tell you to do barbell curls with these, and I want you to focus on working quite heavy with them. Now I'm going relatively light now because my back is injured, and I'm going to go for higher reps, but you're going to work between the 6 to 9 rep range on this. So, like so, controlling these down. I'm trying to keep my elbow pinned in the same position, so it's not rocking back or forward. This makes sure the biceps are doing all the work. You'll see here I stop at this position, because any further, my shoulders are coming into it, but from here, it's just all biceps. So as we've established, you are somewhat beginners if you're watching this video. When I say beginner, right, you could be training for like 2 years, 3 years, but still not really be advanced enough, right? Again, odds are if you're advanced enough, you maybe wouldn't be watching this. Now, with doing bicep curls, it's very easy to let other muscles do the work, you know what I mean? Like you've seen that guy in the dumbbell rack, like swinging them up and doing a mad dance. Doesn't work the biceps that much. That's why they can curl so much. So, the best thing to do is to pick exercises when you're kind of first beginning to try and really make the biceps be isolated so they need to do all the work. So this is called a preacher curl. There's 2 ways you can do this. The other side you'll maybe see more commonly. In fact, let's go around the other side because this is what you see more common. Come around, keep coming around with this, right? We'll just switch up the angle. Thank you for that, Paul. So we're going to come in. Elbows are tucked here, and this is why it's called the preacher curl, because it looks like you're sitting praying. Now what you're going to do is let this come all the way down to the bottom, and then bring that up. Now see here, if I bring this back to here, the muscle's completely relaxed, but here there's still a bit of tension on it. So we're controlling this down nice and slow, breathing in, then breathing out, on the way up. Nice, steady motions. Now with this, we're actually taking the inside grip, because that's going to help us develop more of the peak of your bicep, which is going to make your bicep look bigger. Let me just show you what the peak is right now. Let's try and get some lighting, you'll be able to see if it's lean enough just now. So, you maybe can kind of slightly see my arm there, there's a slight line going up the middle. Don't know if you can see this. Can you see that in the camera, Paul? So that's the kind of split between your bicep muscles, right? And the one that's going to be the peak is this inside one. It's going to give you a bigger peak in your bicep, whereas the kind of outer head is going to make it look like more bigger when you're relaxed. So, hitting the peak on this one with a close grip. So I guess if there's one key takeaway from this video, it is you should be focusing on the form and not just the weight. Get the form right first, and then eventually the muscles will get strong enough so you can lift a heavy enough weight. But one other massive takeaway from this should be that you've learned lots and you should probably subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, peace out.